Hey guys, it's Paul here at Impulsive Culinarian, and in this video I want to talk to you about a delicious Hungarian recipe called Töltött Káposzta. What? Hungarian cabbage rolls. So what a delicious way to spend your weekend in the fall by cooking up these incredibly flavorful Hungarian cabbage rolls. They're really delicious. Now, the cabbage that we're going to be using is Savoy cabbage, and the reason I use this is because the leaves are so pliable, okay? You don't have to parboil them or blanch them or anything like that. Regular cabbage can be very stiff and hard, and it's not malleable, so it's kind of hard to roll up your cabbage rolls. But these are great, okay? So the big leaves especially, because they're usually a little bit more pliable. And the younger leaves, as you get towards the middle, we're just going to take a small knife and we're going to pare off that little vein in the middle, and we're going to have ourselves the wrappings for a delicious recipe. So here's what you're going to need for my Hungarian cabbage rolls, guys. 1 medium yellow onion, finely chopped. A medium large one, okay? 3 tablespoons of Dairy Free Margarine to saute that onion in. 2 garlic cloves, finely chopped. You're going to need a half a pound of good quality medium ground beef, okay? So medium fat content for flavor. And a half of a pound of ground pork. 2/3 of a cup of Basmati or Jasmine rice. Any long grain white rice will do. 1 egg, preferably organic. 2 tablespoons of paprika. Now, if you can get Hungarian smoked paprika, even better, okay? But any paprika will do the trick. 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, some freshly ground black pepper to taste, and additionally, we're gonna need 2 cups of tomato sauce, 1 cup of white wine, and then 10 Savoy cabbage leaves. Let's get cooking. So guys, welcome to part 3 in the fall menu series. This is a lot of fun. We still have the windows open here in Montreal, but it's starting to get cool. Yesterday it was very chilly and the leaves are starting to turn. So that means that all of these recipes are going to come in very handy very soon. I can't think of anything more comfort food, okay, than these cabbage rolls. What a wonderful and simple recipe that you can make. And they don't take that long, an hour and a half in the oven, and the prep is not that hard. Fun thing to do with kids, by the way. We're also going to be using spaghetti sauce. So here's a recipe from last week. And this is the reason why I made it last week. If you've frozen some of your tomato sauce, you can use anything that you like. I prefer to use this very tasty vegetarian spaghetti sauce, which the recipe you can check out if you like. If you've frozen it, now's a good time to get it into a small saucepan and over very low heat, just warm it up and get it prepared for later on when we put that in the casserole dish. So that'll be step 1. Warm up your frozen sauce. Next, you want to saute some onions. Now, I like a lot of onions in this recipe, so I can normally try and find an onion that's as big as my fist. And unfortunately, this week at the grocery store, it was not happening. So I'm going to use 3 sort of smallish yellow onions to equate to a medium large yellow onion. All right, so act accordingly. Around the size of your fist. Chop those out. Now get yourself 3 big tablespoons of Dairy Free Margarine. Put that in the nonstick skillet. Now once your skillet is warmed up and the margarine is all melted, get the onions in there. So your goal is not to brown the onions. You just want to saute them until they're nice and translucent and just starting to brown. That's when you're going to add in your garlic, which you should mince up now. So after around 4 or 5 minutes, guys, the onions are just starting to get translucent and almost ready to go. So pretty soon I'm going to add this chopped up garlic and let it finish in there for the last minute or so. So a total of 6 or 7 minutes for the onions and garlic. So just before the onions want to start to brown, get that garlic in there and finish up everything for another minute or 2. All right, so a minute or so with the garlic in the pan, you're good to go just to get that raw garlic flavor out. And then you can take the whole thing and put it into a large mixing bowl. This you want to let cool before you start adding the rest of your ingredients. Okay, set that aside. If you've got a sensitive counter, put it on a hot plate, okay? And let that cool off just before you add the rest of your stuff. Okay, so that's pretty much the hardest part of the prepping of your ingredients. Now you can set your oven, preheat it to 350 degrees. So once your onion mixture has cooled sufficiently, now it's time to get the rest of the ingredients in the bowl. Let's have a look. So it doesn't get much more simple than this, guys. I've got a half pound each of ground pork and ground beef. I've got my 2/3 of a cup of Basmati rice that I'm using this time, 1 egg, and my seasoning. So there's my 2 tablespoons, generous tablespoons, of paprika, some kosher salt, and a bunch of freshly ground black pepper. Let's get that in the bowl. Add everything in. Meat. Done. Rice. Uncooked. Yeah, put it in. Uncooked. the best part. 1 egg. And then, of course, the seasonings. Get your hands dirty. Okay, you don't have to use your hands. You can do it with a spoon. This is just fun to use your hands, okay? Let's have a look at this mixture. So there's the delicious filling for our cabbage rolls. We're going to take these in 1/3 of a cup portions and start filling up some cabbage leaves. Let's get to it. All right, so to cook this stuff, you're going to want to use a 3 liter or a 3 quart, it's around the same thing, casserole dish. Now, this might not look like it'll fit 10 cabbage rolls, but you want to cram them in. Trust me, if you've got yourself a 3 liter dish with nice high sides like this, it'll fit. You just got to maneuver them, okay? And most importantly, you definitely want a lid. In order for the rice, which is uncooked in the mixture, okay, for all of that juice to get saturated into the rice, you need to cover it for the entire 90 minutes while it's cooking. So make sure you have a good tight fitting casserole cover for your dish. So now your sauce is all warmed up and ready to use. Guys, you can use any tomato sauce, all right, any spaghetti sauce out of a can or a jar, all right? I much prefer to use something that I think tastes really good on its own. This vegetarian tomato sauce or spaghetti sauce is an amazing addition because I would eat this just by itself. There's no need to season it or flavor it, okay? But you can use anything that you like, as long as you have 2 cups to start with. Next thing you want to do is you want to add 1 cup of white wine, also something that you would drink that tastes good. Take your 1 cup of wine and put it in the 2 cups of tomato or spaghetti sauce. Mix it up. Okay, so guys, call me crazy, but when I take delicious spaghetti sauce and I add delicious white wine, you've got yourself 3 cups of an incredibly flavorful mixture right there. And that's what's going to be cooking your rice and basically poaching your cabbage rolls. That's why it tastes so damn good. So now that you've mixed up your tomato sauce and your white wine, get 1/3 of this concoction, around 1 cup, into the bottom of your casserole dish. So you definitely want to save some sauce to pour over the top of your cabbage rolls, but you can see I've put just enough to coat the bottom of that dish. That's basically the goal. You want a nice blanket underneath. All right, peel off 10 of the biggest leaves from your Savoy cabbage. So when you get to the 10th leaf, it's almost half the size of the first one, maybe 2/3 the size, okay? But that's what you want, 10 leaves. Save that for a coleslaw. So with the inside leaves, you can tell that vein, that rib in the middle, it makes it really inflexible, okay? So you just want to take a paring knife and start around the middle of the leaf and peel the back of that rib off like so, okay? And you'll see that the leaf is a lot more malleable. Now you can put your meat filling inside and wrap it out with any problem. So guys, if you use a 1/3 of a cup measure, all right, pretty evenly level, you should be able to use all of the meat filling to fill up 10 cabbage leaves, okay? You may have a little bit more at the end, so the last one is going to be a little bit more stuffed up, all right? So fill up your leaves. If you've ever made a burrito, you know what I'm talking about, okay? Put your 1/3 of a cup of meat in the bottom of the leaf, start rolling the bottom around halfway, then tuck in the sides and fold the top over. And there you go, 1 cabbage roll. Seam side down into your casserole dish. Rinse and repeat. So there's a happy cabbage roll family. All right, cool. So 10 in the pot. Depending on the shape of your casserole dish, it might be a little bit easier. For this sort of oval one, 4 in the middle and 3 on either side seems to do the trick. They are packed in tight. Now, let's get the sauce on top. All right, take the rest of your spaghetti or tomato sauce and white wine mixture and pour over the top. Oh, it looks beautiful already. So spread that sauce around so that it covers every single roll evenly, okay? Get a lid on and get it in the oven. Center rack covered, 90 minutes. 90-minute timer.
Setting the timer. Okay, it's set.
Thank you.
The suspense is killing me.
The suspense is killing me. All right, guys, so when 90 minutes has expired, get them out. Oh, they smell amazing. Oh, look at these guys bubbling away. Oh, beautiful. Right out of the oven, and it smells fantastic, guys. They've all plumped up. Those cabbage rolls are so full of beautifully cooked rice, and the size of each cabbage roll has expanded, too, to fill it up so that they're really a beautiful dish to cut into. All right, let's serve one up. So there's a beautiful looking casserole, guys. Full of Hungarian cabbage rolls. Love these. Laced with a little bit of paprika and just the right amount of seasoning. They taste fantastic. Now I will tell you, this is the kind of dish that is best served right after it's cooked. Now if you have to wait a little while, just keep the cover on and leave it on the stove top, and you're not going to overcook them, okay? The cabbage will not melt away. But it is the kind of thing that you want to serve in the same time that you cook it, all right? You can refrigerate them and warm them up afterwards, but that's the way to eat them, fresh out of the oven. So these delicious flavor morsels, okay? If you want to be authentic, you serve that on a little bit of sauerkraut, which is not everyone's cup of tea. So you be the judge. Google some Hungarian side dishes, but this is definitely a main you can be proud of, and highly recommend that you try the recipe, guys. My name is Paul from Impulsive Culinarian. If you've enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Hit that like button, and more importantly, hit the subscribe button on this channel, guys, because there's lots more fantastic gluten-free, dairy-free recipes to come, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. I keep finding these new vintages, and I love to share them with you every Wednesday with a live broadcast here on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So I hope you'll join me then, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, guys. See you then. Bon appétit! How do you say bon appétit in Hungarian?